Your mind is the first battlefield you will ever fight on. Not the world. Not other people. Not money. Not success. The real war begins inside your skull, in the quiet moments when nobody is watching. That is where fear whispers, doubt repeats itself, and overthinking tries to convince you that you are weak. The worst prison is not built with metal bars. It is built with thoughts you never learned to control. And if you cannot command your own mind, life will command you. Every insult will shake you. Every delay will break you. Every setback will feel like a personal curse. But the Stoics lived differently. They understood something most people never learn. The mind is either trained or it is wild. And a wild mind will ruin a strong body, a good heart, and a bright future. Today, you will learn how to control your mind. Not by pretending problems don't exist. Not by forcing happiness. But by building discipline so deep that no storm can steal your peace. Breathe. Slow down. This is where you take your power back. Most people think their mind is who they are. They believe every thought that appears is truth. They assume every emotion is a command. They obey anxiety like it is a leader. They follow anger like it is wisdom. They chase pleasure like it is purpose. But Stoicism begins with separation. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who notices them. You are not your emotions. You are the one who experiences them. That difference is everything. Because the moment you can observe your mind, you can guide your mind. The moment you can step back, you can choose. And choice is freedom. Your mind will always produce thoughts, just like your lungs produce breath. But you are not required to accept every thought as a reality. Some thoughts are noise. Some are fear. Some are old wounds speaking. Some are insecurity trying to protect you. A Stoic does not argue with every thought. A Stoic simply asks, "Is this useful? If not, release it. Return to the present. Return to what is real." Control of the mind does not mean control of the world. It means knowing the limits of your power and refusing to waste energy beyond those limits. The Stoics called it the dichotomy of control. There are things within your control, your actions, your effort, your attitude, your choices, your character. And there are things outside your control, other people's opinions, the weather, the past, the future, luck, delays, betrayal, loss. When you try to control what you cannot, you create suffering. When you focus on what you can, you create strength. Overthinking happens when you keep touching what is not yours to hold. You try to control outcomes. You try to control how people feel. You try to control whether life will be fair. But life is not designed to be fair. Life is designed to test you. The Stoic mind accepts this without bitterness. It says, "I will do my part. The rest is not mine." And in that acceptance, peace begins. The mind becomes weak when it is undisciplined. It becomes strong when it is trained. And training is not inspiration. Training is repetition. It is doing what is right even when you do not feel like it. It is refusing to obey every impulse. It is choosing discomfort on purpose, because you understand that comfort makes you soft. The Stoics did not chase an easy life. They chased an honorable one. They knew the mind grows sharper through resistance. Like a blade, it must be tested. Like a muscle, it must be strained. Every time you control your reaction, you become stronger. Every time you pause instead of exploding, you become wiser. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you build mental authority. And authority is what your mind respects. Your mind will not obey a leader who is inconsistent. But it will obey a leader who is firm. Be firm with yourself. Not cruel. Not hateful. Firm. Calm. Steady. That is Stoic power. Your thoughts will try to pull you into the past. Regret is a common trap. The mind replays mistakes as if replaying them will change them. It revisits embarrassing moments as if punishment equals growth. It returns to losses as if sorrow can rewrite history. But the Stoic mind does not live in the past. The past is a teacher, not a home. You take the lesson and you move forward. The past cannot be controlled. It can only be understood. And once it is understood, It must be released. Carrying regret is like carrying a dead weight. It drains your energy and gives you nothing back. The Stoic says, I did what I knew at the time. Now I know more. And with that, the mind becomes lighter. Not because the past was easy, but because you stop fighting what cannot be changed. You stop wasting your life trying to edit yesterday. You return to today, where power still exists. Your mind will also try to pull you into the future. Anxiety is another trap. Anxiety is the imagination used against you. It creates disasters that haven't happened. It builds fear from possibilities. It convinces you that if you worry enough, you will be safe. But worry is not preparation. Worry is suffering in advance. And it does not protect you. It weakens you. The Stoic mind understands that the future is uncertain by nature. And instead of begging for certainty, it builds resilience. It says, whatever comes, I will meet it with character. That is not arrogance. That is trust in your ability to endure. You cannot control tomorrow, but you can control the mind you bring into tomorrow. You can train your discipline. You can strengthen your focus. You can sharpen your values. And then, even if tomorrow brings hardship, it will not break you. It will only reveal you. A mind that is always reacting is a mind that is always controlled by the outside world. One comment ruins your mood. One delay destroys your patience. One mistake makes you spiral. That is not strength. That is slavery. The Stoics practice pause. Pause is the space between stimulus and response. And in that space, you choose your character. The world will always throw things at you. But you decide what lands inside you. A Stoic does not respond instantly. They breathe. They observe. They ask, what is the wise response here? That pause might be 1 second. It might be 10 seconds. But it changes everything. Because most people destroy their lives in moments they could have paused. They speak from anger. They act from fear. They decide from insecurity. Control your mind by controlling your speed. Slow down your reaction. Speed is emotional. Slowness is power. Calm is power. Your emotions are not enemies. They are signals. But signals are not orders. Anger signals that something feels unjust. Fear signals that something feels uncertain. Sadness signals that something matters. But the Stoic does not let signals become rulers. The Stoic listens, then decides. They feel, then choose. They do not suppress emotions, but they do not surrender to them. That is the difference between a disciplined person and a fragile person. Fragile people are dragged by emotions like a boat in a storm. Disciplined people feel the storm and still steer. If you want control of your mind, stop trying to eliminate emotion. Instead, train your relationship with it. Let emotion arrive. Let it speak. Then answer with reason. Reason is not coldness. Reason is leadership. It is the mind sitting on the throne again. One of the greatest causes of mental chaos is the need for approval. When your mind depends on other people's validation, you become unstable. You start thinking, what do they think of me? You start performing instead of living. You start bending your values to fit into rooms you don't belong in. But Stoicism teaches independence. Not isolation. Independence. It teaches you to be guided by virtue, not by applause. Because applause is temporary. Opinions change. People praise you today and ignore you tomorrow. If your peace depends on others, you will never have peace. The Stoic mind builds an inner standard. It asks, was I honest? Was I disciplined? Was I courageous? Was I fair? If the answer is yes, you sleep well. If the answer is no, you improve. This is how you control your mind, by giving it a stable foundation that does not shake with the crowd. Your mind becomes stronger when your life becomes simpler. Complexity creates noise. Too many commitments, too many distractions, too many conversations, too many opinions. The modern world is designed to overload your attention. And attention is the gateway to your mind. If your attention is scattered, your mind becomes scattered. The Stoics valued simplicity because it created clarity. They focused on essentials. They reduced unnecessary desires. They limited what they consumed mentally. You cannot control your mind while feeding it chaos all day. You cannot scroll endlessly, absorb negativity, listen to drama, and then wonder why your mind is restless at night. Control begins with what you allow into your mind. Choose carefully. Protect your attention like it is gold. Because it is. What you focus on becomes your reality. What you repeatedly consume becomes your mindset. Overthinking is one of the most common forms of mental suffering. It feels like you are trying to solve something, but you are really just circling it. You replay scenarios. You analyze words. You imagine outcomes. And the more you think, the heavier you feel. Stoicism offers a simple answer: action. Overthinking dies when action begins. Not reckless action. Purposeful action. The Stoic mind asks, what is the next right step? Not the whole plan. Not the perfect answer. The next step. You control your mind by giving it direction. A mind without direction will wander into fear. A mind with direction will move forward. Even if you are uncertain, take the next step. Even if you are afraid, take the next step. Action is the language your mind understands. It tells your mind, we are capable. And capability builds calm. The Stoics also practiced negative visualization, not to become pessimistic, but to become prepared. They would imagine loss, hardship, and difficulty, not to panic, but to strengthen gratitude and resilience. When you understand that everything is temporary, you stop clinging. You stop obsessing. You stop fearing change as if it is death. You accept that life moves, shifts, takes, and gives. This does not make you cold. It makes you free. A mind that accepts impermanence is not easily shaken. When something good happens, you appreciate it without arrogance. When something painful happens, you endure it without collapse. Control of the mind is not about controlling reality. It is about meeting reality with steadiness. The Stoic does not demand life to be gentle. The Stoic becomes unbreakable. Your self-talk is the voice that shapes your inner world. Many people speak to themselves in ways they would never speak to a friend. They insult themselves. They shame themselves. They predict failure. They call themselves weak. And then they wonder why their confidence is dead. The Stoics understood that the mind listens. What you repeatedly say becomes what you repeatedly believe. So control your mind by controlling your language. Speak with firmness. Speak with truth. Not fake positivity, but strong realism. Instead of, I can't handle this, say, this is hard, but I will handle it. Instead of, I'm not good enough, say, I am improving every day. Instead of, everything is ruined, say, this is a setback, not the end. Words are not just words. They are instructions. Give your mind better instructions. The mind is also shaped by the body. A restless body creates a restless mind. A tired body creates anxious thoughts. A weak routine creates weak focus. Stoicism is not only philosophy. It is practice. It is discipline in daily life. Sleep, movement, hydration, clean habits, silence, and order. These things are not small. They are foundations. You cannot expect your mind to be calm if you treat your body like an afterthought. You cannot demand focus while living in constant fatigue. A Stoic respects the body because the body is the vehicle of virtue. It is the tool through which you act. Control your mind by respecting your energy. Protect your sleep. Move your body. Breathe deeply. Create a routine that supports strength. This is not luxury. This is war preparation. Your mind will try to avoid discomfort. It will look for shortcuts. It will beg for ease. It will whisper, do it tomorrow. But tomorrow is where dreams go to die. The Stoic mind trains itself to do difficult things on purpose. Cold showers. Hard workouts. Deep work. Honest conversations. Discipline is a muscle. And discomfort is the weight. Every time you choose discomfort, you tell your mind, we are not ruled by pleasure. Every time you do what is hard, you build inner authority. And authority creates calm. Because when you trust yourself to face discomfort, you stop fearing it. And when you stop fearing discomfort, overthinking loses its fuel. Fear is the fuel. Discipline is the extinguisher. Control your mind by controlling your identity. Many people say, I am an overthinker. They wear it like a personality. But what you call yourself, you reinforce. The Stoics would never label themselves with weakness. They would say, I am training. They would say, I am practicing. They would say, I am learning to be calm. This shifts everything. You are not trapped. You are becoming. Your mind is not fixed. It is shaped. The moment you adopt the identity of a disciplined person, your actions begin to match it. When you say, I am someone who stays calm, you start acting like it. When you say, I am someone who chooses wisdom, you start choosing it. Identity is a compass. Choose an identity that leads to strength. There will be days when your mind feels heavy, when you feel unmotivated, when you feel like giving up. Stoicism does not promise constant strength. It promises constant effort. The Stoic does not rely on mood. The Stoic relies on duty. Duty is what carries you when motivation dies. And duty is what builds mental control. When you show up even when you feel weak, you teach your mind that feelings are not rulers. You teach your mind that you are consistent. Consistency builds trust. And when your mind trusts you, it stops panicking. It stops bargaining. It stops running wild. It becomes quieter because it knows you are in charge. Control is built by keeping promises to yourself. Small promises. Daily promises. That is how a mind becomes obedient. Sometimes your mind becomes chaotic because you are trying to do too much at once. Multitasking creates mental fragmentation. You start one thing then switch. You begin another then abandon it. And your mind becomes scattered. The Stoics valued focus. One task at a time. One step at a time. One breath at a time. Control your mind by simplifying your attention. When you eat, eat. When you work, work. When you rest, rest. Stop living in half-presence. Half-presence creates anxiety because your mind is always somewhere else. Full presence creates calm because your mind is anchored. This is not just productivity advice. This is mental mastery. Your mind cannot be calm if it is constantly split into pieces. Bring it back. Again and again. That is training. A powerful Stoic practice is to treat your mind like a courtroom. Most thoughts are accusations. You're not enough. You'll fail. They will leave. But in a courtroom, accusations need evidence. So when a thought arrives, ask for proof. Is this true? Or is this fear? Is this reality? Or is this imagination? You will be shocked at how many thoughts collapse under questioning. Your mind has been allowed to speak without being challenged. That is why it is loud. Challenge it calmly. Not with anger. With reason. Reason is the sword of the Stoic. And when you use reason, you begin to separate truth from noise. Over time, the mind learns that not every fear will be entertained. And it becomes quieter. Because it knows you are watching. Your mind also needs silence. Not entertainment. Not music. Not constant talking. Silence. The Stoics valued solitude because it allowed the mind to reset. Today, many people fear silence because silence reveals their thoughts. But that is exactly why you need it. Silence is where you train. Sit with your mind without reacting. Let thoughts rise and fall. Let emotions pass through. Practice being the observer. The more you do this, the less your thoughts control you. Because you stop treating thoughts like emergencies. You stop treating emotions like disasters. You learn to remain steady while the mind moves. This is mental strength. This is inner power. And this is how you become unshakable, not by eliminating thoughts, but by becoming calm in their presence. Control your mind by controlling your standards. Many people suffer because they expect life to be perfect. They expect people to be fair. They expect success to be smooth. They expect love to be easy. But these expectations are fragile. And fragile expectations create fragile minds. The Stoics expected difficulty. Not because they were negative, but because they were wise. They knew life is unpredictable. They knew people are flawed. They knew setbacks are normal. So when difficulty arrived, they were not shocked. They were ready. This is why expectation is power. If you expect ease, pain will break you. If you expect challenge, pain will shape you. Train your mind to expect hardship, and you will suffer less when it comes. Because you will not see it as a curse. You will see it as training. Your mind is influenced by what you chase. If you chase pleasure, your mind becomes addicted to comfort. If you chase status, your mind becomes addicted to approval. If you chase money only, your mind becomes fearful of loss. But if you chase virtue, your mind becomes stable. Virtue means courage, discipline, justice, wisdom. These are internal goals. And internal goals create internal peace. Because no one can steal them. You can lose money. You can lose friends. You can lose opportunities. But you cannot lose your character unless you abandon it. The Stoic mind builds its life on what cannot be taken. That is the ultimate form of control. When your mind is rooted in virtue, the world cannot easily disturb you. Because you are anchored inside yourself. A disciplined mind knows when to stop thinking. Many people believe they must always analyze. Always plan. Always consider every outcome. But constant analysis is not wisdom. It is exhaustion. The Stoic mind knows when enough is enough. It makes a decision and commits. It accepts that uncertainty will remain. It accepts that risk exists. And it moves forward anyway. Control your mind by setting boundaries on thought. Give yourself time to think, then time to act. Do not live permanently in planning mode. Planning without action is fear. Action without wisdom is chaos. But wisdom plus action is strength. The Stoic balance is clear: think briefly, act firmly, accept results calmly. That is control. Your mind becomes dangerous when it becomes addicted to drama. Some people unconsciously seek emotional intensity. They replay arguments. They imagine revenge. They obsess over betrayal. And this keeps their mind alive, but not peaceful. Stoicism teaches you to choose peace over drama. Peace is not boring. Peace is powerful. Peace is clarity. Peace is freedom. Drama makes you reactive. Peace makes you deliberate. If you want control of your mind, stop feeding it conflict. Stop watching content that angers you. Stop engaging in gossip. Stop staying around people who bring chaos. You cannot build a calm mind in a chaotic environment. Choose your influences carefully. Your mind is shaped by your surroundings more than you think. Protect your peace like it is your life. Because it is. Control your mind by mastering your mornings. The first hour of your day sets the tone for your mental state. If you wake up and immediately check your phone, your mind becomes reactive. It becomes pulled into other people's problems, opinions, and noise. But if you wake up with intention, your mind becomes stable. The Stoics would begin with reflection. What matters today? What is within my control? What kind of person will I be? You do not need a complicated routine. You need a deliberate one. A few minutes of silence. A few deep breaths. A clear intention. Then action. When your day begins with control, your mind stays more controlled. Because you started as the leader, not as the follower. This is how you build mental authority, by winning the first moments. Your mind also needs a strong ending. Many people go to bed with their mind full of unfinished stress. They carry the day into the night. They replay mistakes. They worry about tomorrow. But the Stoics practiced evening reflection. They reviewed the day with honesty. What did I do well? What did I do poorly? What can I improve? And then they let it go. Not with guilt. With clarity. This practice trains the mind to learn without spiraling. It teaches you to correct without self-hate. Control your mind by ending your day with order. Clean your mental space before sleep. Because sleep is not only rest for the body. It is reset for the mind. And a reset mind is a stronger mind. Sometimes controlling your mind means choosing not to respond. Not every message deserves a reply. Not every insult deserves a reaction. Not every argument deserves your energy. The Stoics understood that attention is power. When you give attention to petty things, you weaken yourself. When you protect your attention, you strengthen yourself. Silence can be a weapon. Restraint can be a victory. You do not need to prove yourself to everyone. You do not need to defend your ego constantly. Ego is fragile. Character is solid. Control your mind by letting your ego die. When your ego dies, you stop taking everything personally. And when you stop taking everything personally, you become calm. Calm is control. Calm is strength. Calm is stoicism. Control your mind by accepting that you will feel pain. Many people overthink because they fear pain. They fear rejection. They fear failure. They fear embarrassment. They fear discomfort. But pain is not the enemy. Avoidance is. The more you avoid pain, the more power it has over you. Stoicism teaches you to face pain with courage. Not because pain is pleasant, but because courage is freedom. When you accept pain as part of life, you stop running from it mentally. You stop rehearsing it in fear. You stop trying to prevent it at all costs. You simply live. And when pain arrives, you endure. This is the Stoic way, not to live without pain, but to live without fear of pain. That is true control of the mind. Your mind becomes clear when your values are clear. Many people are mentally chaotic because they do not know what they stand for. They chase many things, so their mind pulls in many directions. But a Stoic chooses a few values and lives by them. Discipline, courage, wisdom, justice, self-respect. When you have values, decisions become easier. You stop overthinking because you know your standard. You stop doubting because you know your direction. Values are like a compass in fog. Without them, you wander. With them, you move forward. Control your mind by writing your values into your life. Not as words on a page, but as actions. Because the mind trusts action. The mind respects consistency. And when you live by your values, your mind becomes stable. There is a moment when you must stop seeking a perfect mind and start building a strong one. You will still have bad days. You will still have anxious moments. You will still feel fear sometimes. But control is not the absence of struggle. Control is the ability to remain steady during struggle. It is the ability to choose wisdom when emotion screams. It is the ability to act with discipline when comfort tempts you. Stoicism does not remove storms. It builds a ship. And you are that ship. Every time you practice control, you become more unshakable. Every time you pause, you become more powerful. Every time you choose virtue, you become more free. This is not a one-day transformation. It is a lifelong training. But it begins now. With one breath. One decision. One moment of control.